Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. Tonight it's Wednesday, the 14th of June, and we're here to give you some more information. And I think there's a lot of buzz out there on the internet that are talking about lots of different things, but let's keep it to the basics. Let's try to keep it to what's mainly in print. Of course, there's lots of different things that are out there, and we all have different sources, but let's just go with this. It looks like there's an article that's in our group with Patreon and in Discord. It says al-Sudani has not irregular actually, it's a real chance of success, and there is no alternative to supporting the state and its institutions. In other words, they need to have success. That's what this whole process is about, and we've heard that throughout the years, that they need to do this and make it work. And so al-Sudani has been taking things by the charge. So today we see that the Iraqi and American Business Council together, they have started a dialogue where that Iraq is qualified to be an attractive environment for the private sector and foreign companies, stressing that the government has taken a serious amount of decisions to simplify procedures for investors. So what they're saying there is that they're making this as attractive as possible. So they go on and say that they're working to address existing problems, and those problems should be, solidified in a short order, because Iraq enjoys security, political stability, social stability. It's qualified today more than ever to be an attractive environment for investment with foreign companies. So we get that, right? Again, al-Sudani basically wants to re-emphasize to everybody, as the Prime Minister of Iraq, he wants to emphasize Iraq has a real chance for success, and that's the whole goal. Investors around the world, they're going to want success. Basically, what it's going to do is going to support the fact that where they are politically, the world agrees that they are in an environment that will be a stable place for the investors, and it indicates the vitality of a democratic system. And we won't be getting into the political side of things, but we all know that we just witnessed the budget. We witnessed the dissolution of the parliament in the Kurdistan region, but yet during that whole time frame of the budget being voted on, those contentious 4 or 5 days, supports the fact that they got it resolved. That's what the world wants to see. It's all about the private sector. It's all about projects. Look, the world is spending billions of dollars for energy. Iraq has materials, natural resources that can help support and sustain the world as we know it into the future with what they have. And so they're all talking about these different things. And a lot of that has to do with when we were talking about or we were witnessing things that were happening in the budget voting and stuff. They talked about the oil and gas law. I think it's Article 13. The hydrocarbon law, Article 12. All those things they talked about that went through, and they voted on that. So they talk about these things in the last 24 to 48 hours. It basically is stating that they're ready to open up another round of oil and gas rounds in the country. So al-Sudani has just shown that he's a leader, but back up just a little bit, is that if you go back in history, and this is really kind of important for all those that have been paying attention, and those that haven't been paying attention and being critical, they need to look at what has transpired since November of 2022. The Ministerial Council of Economy came into play early in November and has moved forward and progressed to where we are today. We didn't have this in 2016. We didn't have it in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, for instance. We didn't have it. But they came in 2022 and they sorted this out. So get to studying, catch up, pay attention, especially some of you guys on YouTube, which I really support. I really love it, the fact that you're here. But to be honest with you, if you're not paying attention, You're not doing anybody a service other than me. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. The Ministerial Council of the Economy includes representatives from the private sector, who participate with the government in formulating decisions and procedures that will facilitate the work of investors in Iraq. Did you have that in 2018? I don't think you did. I don't think any of us did. But now we do. These guys have come a long way. This Ministerial Council of Economy includes let's go back. Who are they? The Ministerial Council of Ministers, which was on November 14th, 2022, included the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Fuad Hussein. The Ministerial Council of the Economy basically was in the presence of the Planning Department, Trade, Agriculture, Labor, Social Affairs, Secretary General of the Council of Ministers, the Governor of the Central Bank, Ali Alak, who's in charge now, right? President of the National Commission of Investment Agency, and the advisors to the Prime Minister for Economic Affairs. So did you have all that back then? Have they not come to fruition and got more things done? Of course they did. Take a peek at it and understand it. So on March 20th, Al-Sudani's office, right? Excuse me, back up a little bit. I did say, I think, Al-Sistani, but correct that. Earlier on, I want to say the office of Al-Sudani. He basically initiated the Council of Ministers, and they approved the recommendations of the Ministerial Council of the Economy. His office approved these guys' recommendations from all those people, right? And what are they doing? They would advance the reality of the private sector. We didn't have that back in 2023. We surely didn't. We didn't have it in 26, etc. So let's get caught up, everybody. One of the things that the Council of Ministers did is that Al-Sudani's office, the Chairman Council, approved the recommendation of the Ministerial Council of Economy regarding bank card licenses. What is that? That's the point of sale. And guess when they started that officially? They said they were going to do it by a specific time frame. They said that months and months prior. I think it was in March 20 to March 2025, 25th, I should say. But they said they were going to have it done above and beyond all the other things. The one thing I'm focusing on is on June 1st, 2023, the implementation day was with the Prime Minister of the point of sales. They implemented point of sales on that day. So keep all that in mind as we go forward, because you're going to go, well, what's that going to entail? Point of sales, payment systems, all of it are key components that are absolutely important to where we are, because they've done all these things. We talked about taxes and tariffs at the borders. We talked about the ICE Cutta system. We talked about the Buna platform to no end. So you're all familiar with that. Look, the advisor to the Prime Minister says we received requests from countries from 3 continents, going to 3 continents to do business. Did we ever see that before? No, we have never seen it before. It says here the Prime Minister for Transportation Affairs, Nasir al-Assadi, confirmed today, Wednesday, that Iraq received requests from countries in the continents of Asia, Europe, Africa to participate in the Development Road Project. You really got to think about it. What's it going to take to rebuild a war-torn country at 1310? There's not enough dinar in the world to do so. You can do all the math calculations as you want, but their budget's not going to work at 1310. It's just not going to do that. And also keep in mind is that what we get in English and what's written in Arabic is not always the same. There's a definite disparity between the two. So be careful on what you're reading and how you interpret it, because I know for a fact that there's a big difference. There's a big difference. So keep in mind, what they're talking about is the meeting of the technical committees has held today with the participation of 10 countries in the first step to determine how the project will proceed. So they're telling you that they're going to do this project, and they're now are at that stage where they're, how do we implement it? How do we disperse it? How do we get it to that development project? And they say the delegations of the countries that attended today confirmed that their desire basically confirms that who's in participation. We already know there's China, there's the Gulf, there's the Asian, the European, African countries. We know that the United States, they all did all of this development and road conference that was held on May 27th. So this isn't just brand new. We know that they've been on all over this. So it's blaringly clear that they're gearing to do the development. The undertaking is massive. JP Morgan Bank is involved. It's one of the largest banks in the world, worth $4 trillion according to reports. They just didn't show up to do trade to not help develop this country and rebuild it. It's the Marshall Plan. It's kind of like Germany. It's kind of like Germany and Japan. Those things really, truly happened. And what happened after those time frames? Go back into your history books if they still teach it in schools in America. You got to really get down to the nitty gritty and say, is it real? Does it have some legs to it? And it absolutely does, and we're witnessing it. So not to be long-winded, but hey, the Prime Minister of Iraq and the Egyptian Prime Minister this last couple of days signed 11 memorandums of understanding in a number of fields and sectors. And one of the things that they focus in on is that there's small, medium, and enterprises to development. Small and medium enterprises are the backbone of any economy. That's like our country. Think about it for a minute. What's failing in our country? A lot of that. So these guys are really on top of it. They're looking to do that. So hopefully the bleed over effect is going to be fabulous for this country. I really think it's going to be a boon to a lot of people in this world. It's not just about Iraq, but it's all about Iraq. Okay? The cooperation in the field of joining the World Trade Organization. Well, okay, so Egypt's meetings with al-Sudani, signing 11 memorandums of understanding, and now you're talking about they have the Egyptian Ministry of Trade and Industry is supporting the cooperation in the field of Iraq joining the World Trade Organization. I'm sorry, everybody, whether we like it or not, all we can do is vote. But the main thing is progress happening inside the country of Iraq? The answer to that question is absolutely. And guess what? All those taxes and tariffs at the borders, all of them, they're going to go and help support other economies. Just like the IMF. The IMF has their SDR projects. They have all that ready. And what it's about? To support trade. Again, we may not all agree on if that's good or bad, but the fact remains is, as far as I'm concerned, in our investment, it's a good thing. Washington, here's another one, announces a strong message to Iraq and its goal for Iraq. It says today, Washington announced Wednesday a strong message to Iraq aimed at normalizing relations and strengthening the economic fields between the two countries. So what are we talking about? We talked about continents, we talked about countries, we're talking about now it's just two countries, but we're talking about a massive amount of economics, investors, all derived from Iraq opening up to the world internationally. Because what was the very thing we started with? International standards. That's where they're talking about. It says, and here we go. It says this gentleman by the name of Dilawar Syed confirmed during his response to a question to the news agency, the oil and gas sector is vital, and we look forward to working in all fields, including the environment, health, hospitals, financial services, technology sector, in order to keep pace with Iraq in the global system. There you go, global system. And he says there's many young people waiting for many opportunities. Sure there are. Iraq's full of young generation, absolutely full. Many unemployed, need a job. What are they going to do? They're going to provide these jobs. And we're looking forward to dialogues that could lead to important results. Okay, we're all looking for that. The United States has many large companies in the region and Iraq, and through this delegation we seek to change the compass. They're going to want to make it dynamic. They're going to change what it was to something different. On the largest one of the largest delegations visited by America discussed in many details. We do not need visits that are only meetings. What we want is an agreement. That's what they're working for. So here we are. People ask me today in Patreon, in Discord, and on YouTube. Well, so how do we get involved in that? Well, check out the American Chamber of Commerce. I guess the gentleman's name is Steve Lotus. His situation is that our country is interested and excited to the commercial attaché here in Iraq. So the United States Chamber of Commerce, Steve Lotus, is suggesting here in this article that he's part of that attaché to get people connected to doing business in Iraq. So if you're looking to do bids, do contracts, there's many companies that are already there. That's what you got to do. So I hope that helps everybody. Look, there's a large number of representatives that are representing the private, public sectors, owners of entrepreneurial projects. So all they're going to do is discuss various ways to create new jobs opportunities for the Iraqis. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Who doesn't need a new job? That's what we need in America. Our unemployment's not doing very well. So hopefully we can get a little benefit from this. So that's hopefully what we're going to see and do. The nice thing about what we're seeing from these indicators that I've been talking about, it's basically reassurances for Iraq to be successful going to a market economy. They are embarking on a journey that they have never seen before. And interestingly enough, in comparison, this journey that they're going to be on is probably likely bigger than any other before. So let's just see how that plays out. Again, you know, the backbone of this whole thing is about success and the small, medium-sized enterprises. That's what the central banks want. They know that backbone. We all know that backbone, and they're pushing forward full force. So step over into the banking institutions. Again, they're talking about international standards. The Prime Minister of Barzani, the Kurdistan region, even though they had some issues and difficulties through their political wrangling in the last couple of days, he's come out and said that in the Kurdistan region, the Prime Minister, Masroor Barzani, inaugurated the new building of the Sihan Bank in Erbil, along with 6 other banks, have taken part in the government scheme to make public sector payments electronic. That's not about the internal, the Iraqis. It's talking about public sector payments electronic. So in other words, is if Philips medical facility wants to get paid, they can get paid by electronic means. Okay, so that means they're on the same page. So things have changed in the world, everyone. It's really kind of important. Banks will play a key role in the country's economic development. It's all what they want to do is to be based off adopting international standards, because that's to support the investors. Investors do not want to come into Iraq at an official rate of 1310 to not be able to have freedom of capital movement. They've been able to do those systems to create that environment so that when they have the process to change the exchange rate, it'll be ready to go in a moment's notice. We've seen that they have the electronic cards, the key cards. They have new things out today, and they also tell us today specifically that they have a specified time frame. They don't say what day, what night, what moment. They don't do that, but they do tell us that they have a specified time frame, and that time is of essence as we speak. The Kurdistan region remains to be a top priority. The ease of public sector payments, also to facilitate greater access for foreign investors to pursue business enterprise in the region. It's basically ease to get people, businesses into the system. That is exactly what we're talking about today. So the last thing is that to the political side of things, budget 23, 24, 25 approved hasn't been signed by the President of the Republic. But today, the President of the Republic stresses the importance of strengthening cooperation between countries. Italy, for instance. Italy's there, in this particular case, is about industrial rehabilitation, to rehab the factories in Iraq, the industrial side of things. So many different countries have many different things. France has gas and oil, for instance. The United States has oil and gas. The United States has banking, as we saw with JP Morgan. So you see all these different components. You saw Spain, you saw Egypt, you see all these different things. They all have different components. Egypt, I think, was electrical, was one of their bigger components, along with France. So you got to pay attention and say, well, are they going to a market economy, and how are they going to get there? Basically, Rashid has been doing those things today, and basically it's looking at Iraq. Their main importance is strengthening the cooperation between these two countries, because the need to get to the international expertise. It says Iraq's looking forward to strengthening and developing the industrial sector, reopening and modernizing the stalled factories by benefiting from international expertise in this regard. There it is. This is the news. I'm just telling you what I believe is to be some of the best news. My interpretation of a lot of it, of course, but you know what? Take it to heart. Please enjoy, because what we're seeing is probably one of the most exciting times we've ever been in, and there's more to come. So please, if you like what I'm talking about, hit that like button. And if you really want to keep this channel going, you know what? It's up to you. If you'd like to donate, that would be great. Thank you very much. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.